Welcome to APCUG's Spring Virtual Technology Conferences Roundtable. My name is John Kennedy, and I'm just the guy who pushes the button and starts up, but I'm not really doing much on this. Our group facilitator is going to be Judy Taylor, chair of the APCUG Board of Directors. Along with her are a number of other APCUG officers and a whole terrific, over 50 now. We got 50 members and officers of lots of our APCUG member groups. I have turned on the mics, but right now they're muted, so you'll be able to have the option of turning on your mics when you want to talk. Down at the bottom left of the Zoom window will be a button to mute your mic if you aren't talking, so leave it off until you want to talk, and the button to start up your video if you haven't done your video for us to see. We invite you to join this unique VTC session where you are part of the panel. Now, first off, we'd like all of our attendees at this session to sign in to the chat box. So click on the chat up at the top and use the name you registered on Eventbrite and list your club affiliation. We'd like to be able to see where all we've got club members coming from. We need to match up your email address for your Eventbrite so we can send you any follow-up material. It's my pleasure in a second to introduce Judy Taylor, who will lead this roundtable discussion about club websites. Are they designed for the current club member, or is it a tool to attract new members? Who is the primary audience, and what information do they need to see on your website? We're all looking for ideas for our groups and webmasters to make their sites more inviting and be able to answer the questions your viewers might want. So we want you to share your club success with your websites with our other member groups. Now, different than our regular presentations, you are able to ask questions and share in response. But with 50-some people, we can't all talk at once. Judy will have the floor, and what we'll try to do is monitor the video, and when you have a question or a comment that you would like to ask, you can either click a button that says raise your hand or raise your hand physically, and then when we get a break between something, we'll call on you to share with us. If you don't have your camera on, I can't see your hand wave, either use that click to raise your hand or go to the chat box and say, I'd like to comment on that. If there isn't time to answer all the questions or share responses, we'll have you put it in the chat box and she will deal with those after the meeting. I hope you enjoy this live group session. And I'm going to turn this over to Judy, let her turn her mic back on, and you do it. Have fun.
Okay, Jerry, stop. Thanks, John. I appreciate that. My chat box is down at the bottom of my screen, and I don't have a hand, so I don't know why I don't have those things, but it's okay. But just in case other people have the same thing on their screens that I do. Welcome to our roundtable. We had one in February that had over 60 people. We heard from several people that they would like to do that each time we have a VTC. And some suggestions were about let's do one on websites. So if you have an idea for the next VTC that's coming up in August, send them to me, jtaylor@apcug.org, and we'll try to accommodate your request. At least twice a year, I go around to every single member group website. Take a look, see what they're doing, think in my head, why don't they have this information? Or, gosh, it took me so many clicks to try to drill down to find something that I think a visitor would want to know right away. And I visit many of the websites more than twice a year because I'm on the hunt for push articles. So I'm, checking out their newsletters they don't send me. So I've put a little presentation together on my observations as I'm touring the websites. I'm going to share my screen. and move all this over to the side. And this is all about your group's website. And you might look at that format and think, gosh, that looks really old. This presentation, a tiny little bit of it comes from one that I did in 2014 about how to publicize your group. And I listened to it last night. And it's interesting how much of it in 2019 still holds up.
Yeah, but it's not in widescreen format.
Sorry about that. Listen.
First thing I noticed, Judy.
For me to add on to this, let me tell you.
You've been drilling that in my head way too long.
Oh, I know it. Don't I drill that to everybody? Make sure it's in widescreen format. Does your website tell about who you are? If I come there, am I going to understand you're a technology club, what you do? Geez, give me some hooks on this is what I'd be interested in. Do you tell people really close up front and personal within at least one click on what do you offer? We have a monthly general meeting. We meet twice a month. We meet every Tuesday. We have these special interest groups. And please define what special interest groups are. We all understand that, but they can be called, Temecula used to call them one subject groups. I know the Wisconsin group, WAUC, has tutorials. So do you have classes? Let them know exactly what you have to offer to hook them and entice them to come in. If you're on social media, can you really easily find the links? Would you believe that I have gone to some websites that I have noted in the UGLS that they have social media? I can't find the links on their page. So in other words, can visitors easily locate the information that they're interested in on meetings, who you are, is this the group to you? Do your tabs accurately describe content? I'm looking for something specific and I'll look at the tabs and I'll think, I wonder which one that information is under. And it's kind of common knowledge information and I will have to click on each one to drop down the list of what's there. So you'd want to make your tab topics accurate, reflect what is actually below it. Is your information about your meetings easy to find? It should be on your home page or one click away. I have gone to groups where I have clicked and clicked and clicked and clicked until I finally find the meeting information. Is it up to date? Do you happen to include recap of past meetings so people can look at it and go, ooh, I would have liked to learn about that. Ah, that was really an interesting topic. I'll give this group a visit. Maybe I'll join. Do you have directions to your meeting? A lot of groups, it's bare minimum. Remember, please include your zip codes and everything. You know what your zip code is, but the rest of us don't. Do you have a Google map or a mapping program of your choice? But include, I think, written directions. Go down to Burger King and turn right. Some people still like the, directions on go down this street, turn left here to this street, and so on written down for them. Do you have a snail mail address in case somebody wants to send you something? And do you have a group phone number? You can get one from the free Google Voice. You can choose your own number. My answering to answer on our Google Voice is the exact same as when we actually had an answering machine in the office here at my house. And it just says, here we are, who we are, when we meet, etc. Please leave a message, and it comes through to me as a Gmail. On your contact page, I know in the day of spam, etc., phishing, a lot of groups have stopped putting contact information on their page, and it's like Gabe Goldberg said one time, you'd think they were in witness protection because you can't find how to contact them. And so it's president in @ parentheses. Some people do president @ parentheses and then parentheses dot. At a minimum, I personally think you should have an info @ address. My choice would be Gmail. But does someone answer these emails? Many times I have sent an email to info@ and never heard back. Do you have a contact form? Does it really work? Have you tried it? Again, I have filled out contact forms on group websites, clicked on submit or send, off it goes. I never get an answer to my question. So do you really have someone, a live body, whose responsibility it is to answer whatever message comes through your contact form? Do all your links work? Do you have the same page under construction forever and a day? If you do, how about hiding it so somebody who revisits your site doesn't go, they're still working on that page? It's weird. They're a technology group. Is your page design consistent? I have visited websites where the homepage looks this way, the fonts are different on another page, everything is a different color. It's not consistent. Photos, please add photos to your website. Visitors could look at them and say, look at how many people were at their meeting. If you don't have many at your meeting, take it from an angle that it looks like you have a lot of people at your meeting. If you have SIGs or classes, include those pictures so they actually get a visual of, there are people who attend their classes. There are people who attend these special interest group meetings. My personal bias is no excessive animation and or flashing text. Flashing text is also not good as an ADA compliant website. And would you believe I have found spelling and grammar errors on web pages, as well as descriptive content that when you read it really doesn't make any sense. Is your content informative and relevant? Do you happen to go the extra step and have some technology info for members and visitors? Do you have links to videos or how to geek or make use, of.com, etc., and stuff like that? I'd have a helpful links page, and every once in a while I get an email, and it starts out with, I really like your helpful links page. I think my page would be relevant. Would you consider listing it? And when I have time, I visit them and I take a look and make sure they don't want an arm and a leg for what they're doing. In other words, they're not really selling anything. It is information. And I heard from VPN Geeks and I checked him out. And I have 2 links to, what's a beginner's guide to VPNs and another link to them. I got an email from the gentleman on how to create a website. He happened to be talking about WordPress websites. I really liked it as a beginner's guide. So I emailed both of those people back and said, yes, I will put those on our helpful links page. Do you have other tech clubs in your area? I notice in newsletters that some groups include the other tech clubs in their areas, but do you have it on your web page? Cross-advertise. Put the club's name with a link to their website and maybe say a few words about each group. Our WordPress presenter talked about the privacy disclosure policy. Please, everybody should have one on their page about, if at a minimum, we're not responsible if you click on something and it accidentally takes you someplace where we really didn't want you to go. But you should have that, and it should be as a footer, so to speak, on every page. So, in conclusion, in other words, does your website interest a prospective member to attend a meeting? So I challenge you, all you webmasters, to take a look at your group's website with the eyes of a prospective member or visitor. So often, it seems to me, it's really put together only for members. And I really would like you to look at through a different set of eyes. If you were Joe Schmo coming into town, just moved in, haven't got a clue about technology, is your website set up to entice him to a meeting and then for him to join your group. So let's all share ideas now, and may the 4th be with you, please. And there I go. So, ideas, suggestions. What works really good with yours?
Yeah, and between David, who can see, and Judy and me, we can all kind of see who's got the question and hands up and call on people.
I got your Jerry, who is waving his hands. He's wearing a blue shirt. Can't hear you. You're next in line, Huey.
Yeah. It says you're unmuted, Jerry, but I have a feeling that there's connection. Check on the bottom left with the little caret by your microphone and make sure it's selected the mic that you want to use.
And Jerry will go on to Huey, and you wave again when you're ready. Over to you, Huey.
Okay. I just want to add, there was a lot of good points in that, Judy. I want to add a couple of things. Over the last several years, once or twice, I've been one of the judges for the best website, and a couple of things I noticed that I'd like to pass on. One is, a lot of times I've gone to websites where I've gotten the name of the website or the name of the group, and I go to it, and I go on their website, and I can't find out, or I can't figure out what city they're in, or what area they're in. Even if there's a map, sometimes it's a close-up where the meeting place is, but it doesn't include the outlying areas. I don't know what's town. It may have a town, but it may be like, and not when they are. So if somebody happens on your website, or they're doing some searches on Google and it brings up your website, and they go to it, they really need to, somewhere's on there, say, of such and such a city or such and such a valley, or you know, the villages can be in several states, different valleys are in several states, and even city names are in several states, so include the state name as well. The other item has to deal with the more modern ways that people are looking at websites, and that is 50. I was just looking at a figure today. It's over 50% people who visit websites are using a mobile device. If you are a webmaster and you have and you're using the old way of producing a website using a text editor or some other program, you might want to check on somebody's mobile device, if you don't have one yourself, to see how it looks on that, to make sure that it's what they call responsive. The responsive websites, WordPress does it, and a lot of and there's ways to program them as well. Means that when you look at it, a website on your iPhone or on your Android phone, it's going to not make it smaller so the whole screen fits, but it actually makes it so if you got 3 columns, each column is going to be down the page to make it easier to read, so you don't have to do as much scrolling across, you're doing it down. So responsive is very important. And I'll come up with some more things as we go along. Next.
Thank you. I got those down. Jerry, did you get it fixed? Nope.
Jerry, we still can't hear you.
I don't see anybody waving at us.
Got a whole bunch of people I can't see.
I just went to screen 2 and screen 3. Come on, you guys.
Well, I only got 2 screens, but I got a bigger computer.
Oh, you didn't have to say that.
Hey, Mark, you got to speak up and say something?
What would you like to hear about?
I don't know. What would you think is important to make sure we have on a website?
Well, I tell you, having been a leader of several PC user groups, My problem is getting volunteers to do anything. And to make a really high quality website, you've got have a lot of volunteer energy, and that's the hardest part. You know, is herding the cats to get the contributions in your group. If you've got a small group, that's really tough. I don't know how to solve that problem except for maybe the use of templates for a lot of sites. I see somebody's got an idea. I'll mute and listen.
Bob, over to you. Bob G.
Well, isn't the lack of volunteers the downfall of most of the clubs that have failed?
Yes, and officer burnout.
Correct.
Right there.
Again, it relates right back to the same thing. Nobody wants to volunteer. Everybody wants to be a member, but nobody wants to help to make something run. And I really don't know what the answer is to get people to motivate it enough to actually make them responsive and be part of a group instead of just outsiders looking in.
There may be a solution. If you have one member in your group that is interested in learning WordPress, then you can build the website using WordPress. And WordPress.
Bill James,
Yes.
you need to speak up. Speak up.
Well, I'm speaking as loud as I can.
Just turn the volume on.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Bill. That's the problem.
You need to find someone in the group that would be interested in learning WordPress. And that only takes one person to create a website. That's what we've done in our group, is that we had one individual that was interested in WordPress, and so he's taken over that task, and he's doing a really good job.
Bill's in Santo Domingo, so it's a long ways for his voice to travel. Okay, Paul, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Bill's group is the Computer Club of Oklahoma City. It would be nice that when you start talking, you give us your computer club, so at least I have a frame of reference of, you know, who you're talking about, so to speak. But they recently had a meetup group get in touch with them, and it was a WordPress meetup group asking if they had room for them to meet at their organization, and now they have what they consider like a, so to speak, meetup SIG that's full of actual meetup people, and the meetup organization pays all of their club dues and everything. I don't think that's fair, but that's okay. I use a very simple website creator. It's called Weebly. If anybody can copy and paste from Word, you can put a nice looking website together with Weebly, and from there it depends on the links you want and the content that you put in. My business computer daughter needed to put one together for our local hockey club. She started the Kings High School League in our valley. And I gave her a 35 minutes, so to speak, of this is how you do it. And this is, you know, these are the basic links you can put up there. And in no time at all, her hockey website sure looks a heck of a lot better than my computer club website. But she has the creative ability to take it to the next step. Her mother's just a plain Jane kind of person. But Weebly is extremely easy to use, and it's relatively inexpensive to be hosted. It's free if you have their name in your address URL.
Okay.
I see David's waving his finger.
Yeah, well, it's hold hand. The one thing is, I said I don't want to let you get by because we did have a question about it. Is that you know, that if you may have somebody that knows about putting the website, but you can't afford the big bucks, and as I said, Mark did a good job of talking about free websites, but I also want to put a plug-in to keep Francis with the job, is to talk about the APCUG hosting. That now that we're on both sides, we got Windows hosting. Well, we just got Windows hosting, but we can put up a WordPress website. You know, if you want that professionally done, to talk about the big plugins, it may not take all of them, But, you know, for a basic club to get something up for no cost, it can get done very easily. And, you know, the main thing in that is that, that, you know, you may have to take a little bit of time to get it put together, but like Huey Huey did with the Drupal website, but they kept updating, is that, you know, if the club's got at least one or maybe two people that can at least get the information to put up, you know, it's handy. You know, if someone, even though maybe only one person can put it up, but if someone, you can create content in a Word document or send pictures. And with the WordPress site, you got blogs, you got blocks, you got things you can just fill in, and it's more of a cut and pasting, and you got the information up. You know, somebody, whoever does the programming can send, you know, when they send the email out, send an email to the webmaster and let it get put up. So the things they can do on that. And, you know, if you make this a group effort, that, you know, it's just not one person's responsibility. Now, I know in some of the smaller clubs that's going to be difficult, but, you know, you want to type club. So I don't know. We're getting people in here look like they're whoever's with Will is switching back and forth and getting all sorts of people in here. But so just talk about that, and it's free. And you got the control panel to deal with it. And I think Marshall wanted to say something a while back.
I tried using WordPress and it didn't make any sense to me. I have to be able to intuitively do it. I don't learn from books. I have to be able to do this and figure it out myself. And that's why I recommend Weebly, because there's no learning curve at all.
Yeah, no, I realize that. I mean, they got choices, and I would just bring it up as a choice. I mean, you can just put it up as HTML. You can put up a basic HTML website that you can get a program that, you know, you just do it like Weebly. All you got to do is post it up. So there are many different choices out there. And, you know, I was more arguing about if you make it a group effort. Mm-hmm. You know, to get 2 or 3 people to get the, you know, the split getting the information, because the tough part of a website, one, you got it up, but once you get it up, is keeping it current with information. It's the same thing with social media and everything else. You know, you got to be doing things and, you know, having meetings or presentations, and people will write up about the presentations, and they write up about it, what you're doing, and that type of thing, get it posted. You know, you can have the flashiest website in the world, but if you don't got good information, you know, that people want to go and see and hit some of the search engines.
I need some other people to speak up. Do you have some good suggestions? Marshall, thank you. Unmute yourself, please.
Sarasota Technology Users Group. About 7 years ago, the then president asked me to take over the website because the existing webmaster passed away suddenly, and he said he would get someone as quickly as possible. Like I said, that was 7 years ago. So finding volunteers to do technical type work, volunteer work, as we're all finding out and have found out over the years, is extremely difficult. Our group, the youngest among us is above Social Security age. In fact, as our oldest member is 92 years old. So we look at that, and the biggest single problem we have, even with meetings, is that this age group is not driving after dark. So we lose quite a few people coming to the meetings in the wintertime when the time changes. Summertime isn't too much trouble. But what I try to do with my website is to track where the interest lies. And the company that we use that hosts our website has a very good sub-program that allows me to see every page that was viewed, how many times it was viewed, and that sort of thing. And that becomes helpful to try to have the type of information on the website that is driven by their interest. I try to put something that pertains to technology, but not something technical. And if you would care to visit our website at any time at thestug.org, you'll see that each week I add 7 items, one for each day, that are a different variety as far as technology. Now, that's done only to hopefully sustain those that visit our website. Everything else in there, other than the monthly stuff that changes in terms of forums, in terms of what we call our SIGs forums, and that's fine, same thing. Yes, we have an extensive history of every presentation, who did it. If there's a PDF or a video available, they can click on it. And we get a fair amount of traffic that way for people that could not or did not come to the monthly meeting to see the presentation for one reason or another, but really, really wanted to see it. And in many cases, we're able to provide them at least a summary of what the presentation was about, and oftentimes videos. And this goes back years. I think I got maybe 7 or 8 years of history on there. I also have a section at the main page for people that simply says, this is my first visit. And it takes them off to a side corner and allows them to look at the various components of our group and what it will provide in a very short, a simplified information bite, if you want to call it that. So a lot of this stuff is and incidentally, for the technical side, everything I do is in HTML. That's what I was weaned on, and I like it fine. I also realize that our website is an information website. It's not an entertainment website. Although I do post a cartoon every week that has something to do with technology, just maybe to bring a little smile to somebody's face. That's all I have for right now.
Great ideas. Thank you so much. Peter, unmute yourself.
Unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Good, thank you. Good to see you all again, Judy. I was on the DMA board for a period of time. Couple feedback to Marshall or to compliment what Marshall said. Yes, we have a lot of people that are older and don't want to drive at night, so we moved our pizza SIG, what we called the pizza SIG, from after our meeting to we don't call it pizza SIG anymore, but it's a social networking session where you can buy food from the restaurant who gives us the room, and you don't have to buy food from the restaurant. Now, I had a couple questions, though. Your APCUG videos, is that a fundraising tool?
No.
Have you considered it as a fundraising tool?
No, that's a benefit of membership, free of charge.
Okay, all right, just curious. I just want to compliment y'all for contributing, and I particularly appreciated even though I lurked at the last virtual conference, I really very much appreciated the group meeting such as we're doing now. And I'm done.
1, 2.
Peter, when you moved your pizza SIG, you moved it during the day so the people who can't drive at night can come and still
we moved it. I'm sorry, I wasn't clear enough. We moved it before the meeting. Oh. So our social networking group, we don't call it pizza SIG anymore because it's not a pizza restaurant. But our social networking group meets at 6, and then our formal meeting still meets at 7, as it's always been, and then it goes till 9. And we always have at the beginning of our meeting, announcements and all that. But one thing we have restarted since I've become president this time around is does anybody have a computer problem that they would like to have our Brain Trust address? And so we always have that at the beginning, and then we link the people up with the solution providers, with the person who's got the problem, and they can meet after the meeting from 9 until 10. We have their room until 10.
Wow. Jerry Minnick. Unmute. Thank you.
Ma'am, I'm not as fast as you.
Sorry.
Lake Central Computer Society, Leesburg, Florida. We do two things which helps a lot. Every presentation that we give or have given, we try to convert to PDF and put it on our website. The other thing we're doing, which works fine, and the reason we use PDF is because everybody can read PDF. The other thing that we're doing that works great is we have an Ask It bucket, because I didn't have a basket. Ask It basket. And when people come in to the meeting, there's a slip of paper and some pens there. They can fill out a question and how do we answer it, and we take care of that too. 2 hints.
Thank you. I was going to talk about the Ask It basket. Lloyd. Lloyd's from Toronto.
Okay, I'm on. I belong to 2 computer clubs, both of which are members of APCUG, and I've got 2 extremes. I know some of you are talking about not driving late at night, and I can understand that. I'm in that age group. I understand that exactly. But we have another issue, and it's traffic in our area, our general area. If you were holding a meeting at a regular time, such as the evening, right after supper time or something like that, the traffic is horrendous and it's difficult. So that's in the Toronto area. I'm actually in Mississauga, which is just adjacent to Toronto. That's the Toronto area. The other club is located in a smaller community. And I'm working with between the 2 clubs in 2 different extremes. One, people still like to get together, and that's the Durham group. The Durham group, they really want to have their meeting at a location. They use a church. Years ago, my personal computer club, we met at churches, libraries, synagogues. We met at a lot of other locales. There is a lot of work. As we get older, there's a lot of work in arranging for a location, getting it all the time, price increases. Sometimes we ran into a problem for a location. They wanted us to put up a massive security deposit for insurance purposes. And in some cases, they said you didn't qualify for insurance because damage could be done. And in this day and age, especially in the religious places of worship, they're under attack these days, and you know it. Down in the States, you've had some horrendous things happen. We've had some stuff here that's not pleasant. So all of these things tie in with trying to find a decent venue at a reasonable price difficult. But as I said before, in the smaller community, that group, the Durham group, finds it much easier. So I've got 2 extremes. We found the solution with our group, and some of our members who have moved away, gone different places, participate in the Toronto group, and we run. And if you're sitting down, we run from 7:30 to 11:30. Some people drop in, some people drop out on Zoom. And Zoom is the answer for everything. And some of you asked, well, do you want a record of the meeting? Well, with Zoom, you can record it. I've held back having it being posted to the web site simply because sometimes some people do say things that you don't want to go out on the web. That's number one. And they can get carried away. And the other thing is that if you're running something that's 4 or 5 hours, it's going to take up a fair bit of space. We're talking about maybe 2 gigs. And if you ran that for every meeting, you're going to start to accumulate a lot of disk or storage space on the web, in the cloud, or on your own hard drive to be able to service that. But what I found was that Zoom to us in the Personal Computer Club of Toronto was the solution. The fact of the matter is that you could cut down your let's say, recording to smaller chunks if you wanted to. That's one thing. But I find that if you don't have the personal contact, and that includes personal contact being through Zoom, you lose members. That there's some way you've got to be able to communicate. But I found that to me, Zoom, the more I see, the more I just say, what can't I do? We are presenting with Zoom videos. And this is on, let's say, completely streaming. If I come across something that is brilliant on YouTube, I can play it at the meeting. They get full ability to be able to watch it, to see it. Now, we could share that. We can send out links to members or whatever. Oh, there are all kinds of options. But what I find fascinating is that, again, this is completely for us. It's not for everybody. That people will come in and maybe drop out for an hour and come back in after a certain topic is covered. Because, for example, sometimes we get technical into hardware, or we may get technical into a specific app or programs. I still call them programs. Most people now call them apps. But the point of the matter is, the people feel very comfortable. Now, one of the things, and I don't know if you mentioned this, is where they had a meeting at a physical place, they always have door prizes. That's just something that is standard. So it gives people an incentive to come to the physical location to have a possibility of a door prize. And that's pretty well it. But I think you've got something that maybe you could blend between the two. The only thing that I would say is that with our meetings that might be lacking, but we don't need it because we're only at our own location, is to maybe have a video camera rather than just a webcam. Because we all use our webcams, and it's fine. Just like you're doing right now, we're looking at webcams. We're not looking at where, for example, you might have 2 or 3 people that are doing a presentation together, where you might want to have an external video camera to record both the video part and the sound part. But that's it. So you've got the choice, and I think that everybody's got a chance. There's Bob, who also participates in some of our meetings. Go ahead, Bob, or Judy, you take over.
Over to you, Bob.
Recording, Lloyd, is very simple. After you've recorded it, upload it to YouTube. There's no limit on what you can upload. I can put hours and hours up there. Nobody's going to watch it, but I can put it up there.
Okay.
Do a little editing.
No, Bob, that's an excellent idea.
Put it on YouTube.
Bob, that's an excellent idea. As I said before, our problem is that, and I'm very cautious about this, that things might be said you don't want to go on the internet.
Edit it before you put it up there.
Yeah, we have to edit it too. That's it.
You can also make it unlisted and send the address out to your members and nobody else will look at it.
Well, I still don't think that things should be put on YouTube if it's inappropriate. There are things that might be said.
Then you're up a creek.
Yep.
Yes, and you know, in this day and age, once it's on the internet, any which way, it's not necessarily eliminated. It's there. 20 years from now, somebody will come back and haunt you.
Somebody's going to record it. You can't erase it from the source if it's recorded somewhere else. So you're correct. Once on the internet, it's always there.
And I'm going to say, if we have a meeting on one of these meetings, like the next one, on meeting ideas and things like that, you guys don't get to talk because you've already talked about it here, okay? Huey, you were raising your hand.
Okay.
Yeah,
to go along with what Lloyd said, I had a different situation. I moved 120 miles away from where our meetings were. I moved from Orlando to Bradenton outside of Sarasota area, and they wanted me to continue my Windows Special Interest Group. And so I do it by Zoom once a month. I record it using the recording within Zoom, put it up on YouTube, and then on my webpage, I insert the code that makes it part of my web page. So it's actually being stored on YouTube, but people can watch it on my web page. And you also mentioned use cameras. I've seen a couple of meetings where they've used cameras. You really need a combination of the cameras and sharing the screen, because a lot of times if you're showing somebody's presentation on the screen, people can't see what you're talking about clearly. And where if you were sharing the screen as well, you could switch back and forth. But then you've got the issue of somebody handling all of that. So, but I open the Windows SIG that I do, I beam it to the group sitting in Orlando, but I also open it to any member, and it's the second Sunday of every month in the afternoon. And we're starting to get more people online than we do from the actual meeting place, but most of those people are not members of our group, they're members of APCUG. And that's it.
JJ145, you raised your hand.
Yes, I did.
There you go.
JJ Johnson from Lake County Area Computer Enthusiasts. I'm the founder, webmaster, and membership chair.
And what else?
Hear me?
And what else?
I'm the founder, webmaster, and membership.
No. The APCUG Volunteer of the Year last year, too.
Oh, yes, I was. I'm sort of the jack of the desk for our group. Yeah, we videotape our meetings every month, and like Lloyd was talking about using Zoom to sort of stream your presentation. We had discussed that once before. The problem with that is that if we did that, members wouldn't want to come to the meetings. And we do door prizes at our meetings, but by videotaping our presentations, and we are able to put them online within about a week or so after the meetings. Therefore, the members who weren't able to come to the meetings can view the presentation. I just recently got into the Sling Studio, where I'm able to broadcast or record our presentation from 4 different angles. So we're able to videotape the screen, the presenter, and the audience at the same time. So you get a view at different angles of what's going on within the meeting. But I really like that we're able to videotape it and put it up on Facebook, YouTube, which we do. And we send out a link to our members of what's new on our Facebook or on our newsletter page, because we put it on our newsletter with videos we have available. And we also belong to the Google group, and we send out links to Google groups so when the videos are available for them to view.
Thank you. Okay, Paul Howard, I'm going to call on you, and since this has turned into anything but information about websites, would you tell everybody how PADAX uses Zoom to broadcast your meetings?
Sure, Judy. I'm Paul Howard. I'm the president of the Potomac Area Technology and Computer Society. We have 3 meetings a month, one which is a joint meeting on Saturday afternoons, the 3rd Saturday of the month, with the PC user group of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at George Mason University. And for those of you who are facing challenges of finding places to meet, I would suggest looking for Googling Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. There are something like 120 of them across the United States affiliated with colleges and universities. They may be amenable to hold joint meetings with you, and they probably have meeting facilities provided by the college or university they're affiliated with. In our case, we are using for the Saturday meetings professional video conferencing equipment that Ollie has, and we pay $500 a year for the interface software to allow that system to talk to Zoom. If you are interested, you can go to the recent meetings page on our website, that's patacs.org, and see what kind of a result we get from that equipment and the Zoom connection. Basically, you'll see a large image of the presentation material from the presenter's computer and a smaller image of the cameras focused on the presenter. We aren't actively necessarily following the presenter. We like to put bubble gum on their chair or under their feet and have them stand in one place, but that's not always possible. We also have a couple of meetings at a small community center in Arlington, and we have been fighting with and sometimes successful with using Zoom from that facility. We've been struggling with getting the sound to work properly. I think we finally overcome some of those challenges, but we continue with that. At one meeting we had Gabe Goldberg, who some of you may be familiar with, who's the APCUG representative for Region 2, and Gabe was presenting from his iPhone. We were using an Android phone to pick up the sound from him, and God knows what else we had. We had so many pieces of technology trying to pick up that particular session. It was kind of ridiculous. I think we've simplified it somewhat, but integrating all the different flavors of technology has been a little challenging at that meeting. Again, the conjunction of doing joint meetings with our user group and the group at Ollie, which I founded in 2009, has been marvelous because we have about 95 to 100 members, 40 some of which are members of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. So it's been a terrific source of new and continuing members for us. We had great trouble finding folks to join our group until we linked up with Ollie. And in 2012, we also merged with another computer group that had been around since the mid-'80s. Our group's been around since 1978 under a variety of names. So we had two 50-member groups join together to form a 100-member group. That's worked out fairly well. It also allowed me to dump about half the jobs I was doing because I didn't have to maintain 2 websites, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So.
I have a question. How do you pronounce your acronym?
We do it 2 ways. Okay. Pat Aces is one. And since we're in Northern Virginia and a great number of our members are former employees of the federal government, we also sometimes pronounce it as pay taxes.
Thank you so very much.
So.
Okay, on to the next person.
Jerry, get Jerry.
Yep.
Unmute yourself, Jerry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Yay!
Hey, good. I'm Jerry Satz with the Chicago Computer Society, and one problem that we have is trying to get volunteers to give presentations. And what we have done is, over the past years, we've had a news and tips page up on the CCS website, of which it goes up, there's about 50 different tips daily. And we're up to 1,700 plus days. And what we're decided to do is select a few of the news and tips and hand them out and get volunteers, say, from the audience, say, okay, you're going to do a presentation next month on this particular tip. It may only be 15 minutes, but this is what we want to try and do to get everyone involved. And I suggest to everyone that is looking there, go to ccs.org, the main page, and you will see the news and tips page, and then you'll see an index of all the different weeks, and then select a week, and then you can do a search on a week and see if there's a topic, or just browse them, and maybe you can get yourself some volunteers to do some presentations themselves. And this is what we're looking at.
I use the How To Geeks and MakeUseOf.com articles all of the time to put presentations together. I've kind of piggybacked on Jerry Minnick's mini presentations that he offers via the Speakers Bureau, an hour presentation or 3 mini presentations. How To Geek and MakeUseOf.com, we have okay to use their articles in our newsletters. So I turn them into presentations because they have the latest and greatest information about what is happening out there. And all the screenshots are in the articles. And it's extremely easy to do, just like Weebly is easy to use by copying and pasting. Putting a presentation together from one of those sources, if you can use your little snipping tool, you can do it almost instantly and turn their verbiage into bullet points. And I always tell my group that we're very small, but doggone it, we're on the cutting edge of what's out there in technology. And I'll give a presentation on something, and it doesn't hit the mainstream TV until a few days later, or even later than that. It doesn't hit the local newspapers till long after that. And so we're a few people that are keeping up to date on technology via easy to put together presentations.
Just to take a little, you mentioned How To Geeks. We do have some of the tips come from How To Geeks, the daily tips.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the tips come from whether they're on Mac, iPhones, Android, or Windows 10, or you name it, they're probably out there.
So
and
that's
we're trying to get our members to go out to the website and look at them, and also get members to volunteer.
So his version of my helpful links are just tips and tricks, so to speak, which is way cool for members. I just have links to How To Geek and MakeUseOf.com and all the places where I get my information from. And I get your email, Jerry, and I appreciate it.
The topics are there along with the link. So you can browse through and see what interests you, and go to the link and see what it's all about. Thank you.
Thank you.
Give me that name.
Hi, Jerry. Good to see you.
I missed the name of that link.
It's ccs.org.
ChicagoComputerSociety.org.
That's the main web page, and then right on the left side, you'll have news and tips.
Next person. I still need more ideas for websites. There's a lot of websites out there that need a lot of help, and others that don't need any help at all. When I get suggestions about what to have for a roundtable, I'm not going to pay attention to anybody anymore. We'll just do general ones. Paul.
I would welcome anybody taking a look at our website and critiquing it. Having done it for 22 years, I wouldn't be surprised if mine is very stale. You do it for that long and you think it's okay, but it may not be. So I'd welcome anybody slinging some arrows and suggestions my way. Again, it's PATACS, PATACS.org. Thank you.
PATACS.org. Don't sign your email.
One thing, Judy, like to remind everybody to participate in the web contest.
Bill would like you to remember that we're having a website contest again this year. Information will go out about the contests after this VTC information stops coming out in your inbox. Hate to inundate you with too much stuff at one time. If you've got your issue of reports and you happen to click on the link and open it, you would see all the information about the contests in the Q2 issue of reports. What? That isn't on the APCUG website yet, because the gal who does the programming is out here in Southern California, and she'll put it up there when she gets back, and then I'll add. I'm the adder of information. She's the one who does the heavy lifting for all the stuff that I can't do. But I'm the one that keeps it updated and revises it and blah, 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 blah. And so, you know, check your news email because it was attached to it. Do we have any raised hands?
Lloyd's hand is up.
Lloyd.
Okay. Okay, I'm unmuted. Okay. This actually is a question about you, directed to you, and because you would probably know the answer. If we went ahead and we found certain APCUG web sessions that they have, just that we had earlier today, and there are some of particular interest that we think might be interesting to others, can we provide the link on our website to that specific presentation?
They're a benefit of membership. Link away.
Okay,
anybody can go. Each and every email that advisors send out has the links to all our social media. The website is considered social media as far as we're concerned. And just, you know, you can point them to the YouTube channel, but they're open to anybody who looks for videos. I try to put words in the description, not words in the description. I try to put tags that are really relevant to what is in the presentation. So if somebody is searching for blah, 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 one of our videos will come up in that search for them to watch. So feel free.
We can go, what I'm saying to you is because you do post them to, my mind's going on, what do you call it? My mind has just gone on me. When you post it to YouTube, if we give, you know, YouTube has the actual link directly that you can go direct to that particular video. Because it's on your site, you don't mind if we go directly to the actual video.
I personally went, okay, if I want to use a VTC presentation video, I download it to my hard drive and I show it to my members.
No, that's okay. Actually,
but again, they're up there for public. It's not restricted to anybody.
No, but what I'm referring to is the website itself, the club's website. If we go,
I was going to say what you need
there's
to
a
do
topic on,
is
let's
just-
say, let me just add this. Today there was a topic on our presentation, and remember, there's two things. One, there's the presenter, and two, there's APCUG involved with this. So they presented something earlier today on WordPress. So we and our website might say, okay, there's certain issues about WordPress. Maybe we just give a very brief little capsule on it and say, for further information, go here. And and that would direct you to the APCUG presentation.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you know how to share the content, right? You just go to the YouTube video and click the share button, and it'll give you a link that you can then paste into your website.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I'm very much familiar with that.
Yep. No, like I say, the everything that APCUG does is as a benefit of membership.
Okay.
We just got a new group who got.
That's why we want your $50.
About, giving them a presentation, and they were not a member of APCUG, but the gentleman was on the distribution list of a group that I had given a presentation to, and he was interested in the topic. And after many emails back and forth, when I kept telling him it's a benefit of membership being along to APCUG to have a presentation by a member of the Speakers Bureau, they joined. Go figure. That's what's interesting to them. They are in Florida, and I told them Jerry'd be down to visit them soon. And but that's the reason they joined, because of the benefit. The VTC is a benefit of membership.
Okay.
You're on mute. You're there. Okay. Any other questions? I haven't. I'm going to go to my second screen here. Not one person on the second screen has had anything to say. I'm going off to my third screen, and no one on the third screen has had anything to say either. I'm disappointed.
Judy,
Yeah,
this
well,
is
Mark did say
Paul
something
Howard
earlier.
again.
Sorry.
I said Mark Zenzow did talk earlier, and he's on the second screen.
No, he's on my first screen. Sorry.
Oh.
Bob G., you raised your hand for a moment.
I have another plug for Zoom.
Good.
I had a presentation last month for Payson, and the day the presentation was scheduled, Payson's internet access went down. They only have one line going in. So the library had big posts all over the place. Sorry, no internet access. Well, somebody was very ingenious and said, that's fine. My phone has a hotspot. Presentation went off without a hitch, the whole hour. No interruptions, no problems, no lags, nothing, just using the person's hotspot. So that's another reason why Zoom is far superior to many of the other ways of doing presentations if you do them remotely.
We have many groups that have lousy internet access, and when I mention the Speakers Bureau, they say, oh, you know, we don't have very good internet access, or we don't have any internet access, and I preach hotspots. And last year, 2018 spring, I conned 2 groups into participating in a VTC, and that was the group in Hawaii. The May meeting happens to have on their meeting day, and the Tulsa Computer Society. They both did it and had absolutely no problems at all. The Hawaii group was here today with us using their hotspot. So I can't figure out why I can't get more groups to take advantage of that. The main thing is they don't seem to know about it. They're 1,000 years old, everybody, and they don't want to do anything new. But it's something that all groups with crummy internet access should think about. And I really need somebody to write up something in non-technical terms about how easy it is to use, how successful it has been, etc., so we can get it out to all of the groups that can learn from that information and maybe open up their horizons and not have to close because they can't get any presentations.
No, a lot of them don't like the fact that they got to pay for the internet access. The hotspots cost money.
Oh, hey,
Yeah.
It comes with your Verizon, my Verizon thing. It's right there. Oh, I have a Pixel. And my suggestion is, you got money in the bank club, then if this guy goes or gal goes over their minutes, just pay them what it costs. It's not going to cost that much for the club to ante it up. Think out of the box.
Judy, I'll write something up for the next reports.
Thank you so much, because I've been waiting for that article.
No, as I said, I use a hotspot on all our meetings. Ever since the one I had with Bob G went down the hill. I gave up on our thing. It's now out completely. I don't know. They can't figure it out. So I just use my hotspot and haven't had a single problem glitch since, Bob.
And how much does it cost?
The cost of the club is, I got a deal that I'm grandfathered in on 14 gigs of data for $80 a month.
Over to Bob G.
The difference between a virtual technology conference and a remote presentation, when I put one on, is mine is interactive. So you can see me, I see you. You ask questions when you have a question. It doesn't have to be at the very end. It doesn't have to go through text. whereas a VTC is pretty much closed. The moderator or the presenter doesn't know what the audience is or who they are, can't tell whether or not they react to a joke or not. And that's entirely different when I do a remote presentation. I know if my joke was stale or if it was a good one. So, and it also makes it more like, almost like being there rather than it being a blah, here it is, and that's it, finished.
There's a group in Wisconsin who has had a Speakers Bureau presentation since October 2017. I gave them their first one. And in 2018, they had 10 and 2 parties. And we're working on the same thing for 2019. They cannot get presenters locally. Their members refuse to give presentations. And they are extremely happy campers with the live person up on the screen at the beginning and the live Q&A after the presentation. And they're loving it. And they've gotten new members who, you know, came in for, you know, a meeting, and hi, it was a, you know, me up there giving a presentation, and they get members to join. I do not understand why groups who are having problems with presentations don't make use of the Speakers Bureau. It's an absolutely fantastic free benefit of membership.
I'm going to jump in right now because Judy said she wanted this to go an hour, and we've gone more than an hour. We've also kind of gone off topic, but if people had a chance to get some questions and learn something, that's good. I'd like to thank Judy for taking time out of her busy schedule to be our roundtable host, and I would like to thank each and every one of you, which even now is still 44 people hanging around maybe. And if you want, I'll leave the text thing open for a few more questions or comments. If you have a suggestion for a future roundtable topic that we can try to focus and stay on, please let us know. Our next VTC will be held in August on the 17th. We hope to see all of you there. And thank you again for whatever. Oh, yes, Judy, you're the boss, so you can ask.
Hey, I have one more statement to make here.
Okay.
If anybody that is listening to this would like to make a presentation at a VTC, please let me know. I actually had somebody volunteer this time, and that was Bill from Sarasota Group on Youth and Technology. It saved me the time and trouble of sending an email to him and asking if he would like to, and I just about fell off my chair, because it's very difficult for some people to give a presentation where, like Bob says, you can't see anybody, you're getting no reaction. I'm looking at Peter, Frank, Bill, and Mark, and Melnick, and I can't see their faces. That's the way it is when you give a VTC presentation. I sit here and I gesture, even though nobody's watching me gesture or anything. And once you've given one, it's just wonderful. I've only had one person who gave one and said, it's really not for me. If anybody would like to give a presentation to VTC and go through a test, so to speak, my group loves to do stuff like that. Many of the folks who give the presentations via the Speakers Bureau have given it to my group first, because we're non-judgmental, we go with the flow. If mistakes are made, we really don't care. And if they want us to, we give them, you know, some feedback on how, you know, changes we'd like to see made, or it went swimmingly or wonderful. And by giving a presentation to my group, it just kind of takes away the, oh my gosh, I wonder what's going to happen. You know, I'm not going to be able to see anybody.
And I get all the newbies through theirs. We had 2 of them this week or today, and both of them, no problems getting through it. So yes, it's not that bad. I told my people, if you have a problem with not being able to see people, stick a picture of an audience up and look at them. All right, so
very good. Thank you so much for attending.
We'll see everybody, and down at the bottom corner you have a button that says leave the meeting, since this is a meeting, not a webinar, and watch for your emails. Thanks so much, everybody.
Hey,
Hey,
Jerry,
Jerry.
reading chats.
Hey, Jerry, it's good seeing you. Bill James.
You need to click on leave meeting to exit, you guys.
Well,
Going, I
John
can hear
can click
ding, ding,
end
ding,
meeting
ding.
and end it for everybody.
Well, there's a few people wanted to say hello, hi, goodbye, and everything.
Yeah.
Have a safe trip back to the States, Bill.
And remember, next time, don't forget to participate. We'd love to hear your ideas and your suggestions.
Thank you, John.
And all that good kind of stuff, because that's what makes this viable. We all need to go home, so to speak, although we're at home, with new ideas. Something that will get us excited about our computer clubs again, because we've had the website the same way for 16,000 years, and maybe we need to update it.
Thanks, Judy.
We got ideas on getting new presentations.
John,
Yo.
did you record this?
Yes.
Okay.
And so did Francis.
And
See,
it will
what's-
be on YouTube, and my little, presentation from back in the day that is not widescreen will be in PDF format along with everybody else's, and they'll be uploaded by tonight to the website.
It's just kind of fun to watch all these little boxes disappear one by one.
We started out with four screens. I ended up with 3. When the topic got off websites,
I only had 2.
all my
'cause it's-
people went away.
It depends on your screen. The maximum I had was only 2 because my resolution's smaller.
I have a 17-inch laptop monitor. How do you get rid of the chat box? I talked in the chat box once. I can't get it to go away.
Just close it.
Yeah, exit out.
Okay, I thought that might be the X for.
No, you have to do a
No.
leave or the whole window. So, yep.
Hey, Judy.
That didn't. That's getting rid of me. I mean, that's closing down the webinar. Or yeah,
No,
the
just the
webinar
chat.
site.
Put the X on the chat box.
Where is? I just did that, and it asked me if I wanted to leave the meeting.
Just click the chat
Judy.
button on the bottom of your screen. It's
Have anything
on off.
screen, Huey? Jerry Minnick, what?
The Jerry that we had trouble listening to, but we finally did. Do you know where he's from?
Chicago Computer Society. Jerry Sass, S-A-S-S.
Depending on where the chat box is, there's a close button under a little down caret. If it's in with the pictures, if it's outside, then it has the X.
Outstanding. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, just very instrumental in the first regional program we had when I was the advisor for them.
They had a yearly regional conference in Chicago, and literally he got tired of doing it, so they stopped having it.
He was from where?
Chicago Computer Society. The same place as the guy with the tips and tricks.
Oh, okay.
All right, it's 5:30 in the East Coast. Dinner time for some people. See everybody next time.
I haven't had breakfast yet.
Bye, all.
Bye.